16. Let us put on our best Sunday manners for this creature that we pick her out of the mud. Comment Higgins said this to Pickering when Mrs. Higgins asked her son to behave well when Eliza comes to speak with him about a solution to the problem. 17. I tell you I have created this thing out of the squashed cabbage leaves of Covent Garden. Comment Higgins said this to his mother, who blamed him for speaking harshly and rudely to Eliza when she came down to meet him. Higgins never changed his attitude towards Eliza as a dirty flower girl. 18. Will you drop me altogether now that the experiment is over? Comment Eliza said this to Colonel Pickering, ignoring Higgins's rudeness to her when she came downstairs to talk to them. Eliza was determined not to go back with them to Higgins's house. 19. But it was from you that I learnt really nice manners, and that is what makes one a lady, isn't it? Comment Eliza said this to Colonel Pickering. She thanked him for his nice treatment to her. She declared that Higgins had taught her how to talk, but Pickering taught her how to behave as a good-mannered lady. 20. The difference between a lady and a flower girl is not how she behaves, but how she's treated. Comment Eliza said this to Colonel Pickering. She thanked him for his nice treatment to her, saying that his nice and genteel treatment to her made a lady out of her. She meant that without Pickering, the experiment would never have succeeded. 21. I have forgotten my own language and can speak nothing but yours. Comment Eliza said this to Colonel Pickering. She meant that she had become a different person, and she had forgotten her old bad language. She was unable to retreat to her former personality. 22. Let her find out how she can get on without us. She will relapse into the gutter in 3 weeks without me at her elbow. Comment Higgins said this to Colonel Pickering. In fact, he was addressing Eliza in an indirect way. Higgins was shocked by Eliza's new confident and determined personality. 23. You want me back only to pick up your slippers and put up with your tempers and fetch and carry for you. Comment Eliza said this to Higgins when he begged her to come back. Eliza was determined not to go back because she realized that Higgins was unable to treat her kindly. 24. I can do without anybody. I have my own soul, my own spark of divine fire, but I shall miss you. Comment Higgins said this, Eliza who had challenged him that he depended much on her and can't do without her. It was true that Higgins got used to her presence around, but he was too arrogant to confess it. 25. You were a fool. I think a woman fetching a man's slippers is a disgusting sight. Did I ever fetch your slippers? Comment. Higgins said this, Eliza. All that Eliza wanted was a promise from Higgins to treat her nicely and kindly as she wished. She reminded him of how she cared about him and used to fetch his slippers for him. 26. Freddie Hill writes to me 2 and 3 times a day, sheets and sheets. Comment. Eliza said this to Higgins when he suggested that she might marry Pickering and live with them. Eliza said the above words to show him that she was desired enough by men of her age to accept that strange marriage. 27. In short, you want me to be as infatuated about you as Freddie? Comment Higgins said this Eliza when she told him about Freddie writing letters to her. Higgins thought that Eliza wanted him to be in love with her, but Eliza told him that all that she wanted was a little kindness and respect. 28. I'll marry Freddie. I will, as soon as he's able to support me. Comment Eliza said this to Higgins. She wanted to assure him that she had other choices than submitting to his bad treatment. 29. I'm not going to have my masterpiece thrown away on Freddie. Comment Higgins said this to Eliza when she declared that would marry Freddie. Higgins refused this. 30. If I can't have kindness, I have independence. Comment Eliza said this to Higgins. She wanted to assure him that she was determined to live as a respected lady, not as a worthless maid under his feet. 31. I'll advertise it in the papers that your duchess is only a flower girl that you taught, and that she'll teach anybody to be a duchess, just the same in 6 months for 1,000 guineas. Comment. Eliza said this to Higgins. She was determined to have her own independent life, either by marrying Freddie or by working as a phonetic teacher. She threatened him to use his methods to teach other people and earn her living. 32. I said I'd make a woman of you, and I have. I like you like this. Comment Higgins said this to Eliza. She challenged him and declared that she will go on her life independently. In saying the above words, Higgins wasn't proud of Eliza as an independent person, he was proud of his creation. Answer the following questions. 1. Why did Eliza throw the slippers at Higgins? She wanted to make him feel how far she was nervous and angry as he disregarded her feelings after the success of the experiment. She had expected to be rewarded, not to be neglected. 2. Why did Eliza wish to be dead? Eliza was concerned and anxious about her future and how she would go on living as a lady in a society she wasn't used to. 3. What did Doolittle complain about? He complained that he became a member of middle-class morality. 4. Who did Doolittle accuse of ruining his life? He accused Higgins of causing him that suffering. 5. How did Higgins become more dependent on Eliza than she was dependent on him? He got used to seeing her around to fetch his slippers and arrange his appointments. However, she became more dependent on her own self, and she was able to go on living without him around. 6. What was Colonel Pickering's gift to Eliza? He gave her money to open a flower shop. 7. Why did Eliza believe that Higgins and her father were similar? Eliza believed that Higgins was much like her father because neither of them really cares for her needs. They want to benefit from her. Higgins needs her no more than he needs his slippers. And Doolittle sells his only daughter in Act 2 for a £5 note. 8. Why does Eliza wish Higgins had left her where he had found her? Because she was happy with her life as a flower girl, unlike her situation now that she had become a lady who was unfit for neither her new life or her old one. Room 9. Describe Eliza's appearance and mood after the eventful night. She was dressed in a brilliant evening dress with an opera cloak over it. She looked beautiful, but an expression of sadness and loss covered her face. 10. Is it fit for Eliza to work at a flower shop? Why? Now that she had become a lady, it became unfit for her. 11. What were Eliza's alternatives other than living with Higgins in humiliation? She could get married to Freddie or work as a phonetic teacher to earn her living. 12. Why was it impossible for Eliza and Higgins to get married? The age difference between them was over 20 years. Eliza has finally gained her independence, and she wasn't ready to bear Higgins' rudeness anymore. Eliza realized that Higgins was destined to be a bachelor. 13. How did Higgins look at Eliza when the experiment was over? He looked at her as a successful masterpiece of his skillful work. 14. What was Higgins' advice to Eliza about her future? He said she could get married or open a flower shop. 15. Why didn't the play close with the expected happy ending? Because it was impossible for Higgins and Eliza to get married. 16. How is the mythological theme strongly revealed in Act 5? The mythological theme that gives the title to this play is strongly revealed in Act 5 when Higgins views himself as Eliza's creator. 17. What did Eliza say she has learned from Pickering? She had learnt good manners and respect from him. 18. Higgins treated Eliza as a piece of work, not a human being. Explain, giving one example. Answer yourself. 19. What is Higgins' advice to Eliza when he realizes she is upset? He suggested that she could open a flower shop or get married. 20. When did Eliza wish to be dead? Why? After the experiment was successfully overrun, because she felt lost and unfit for her new life. 21. How did Eliza look upon Higgins and Pickering after the experiment? She was grateful for Mr. Pickering for his good and respectful treatment. However, she was full of anger towards Higgins for his bad treatment and indifference.